Hello everybody, welcome to our Google AdSense live stream. My name is Virginia and I'm a strategic partner manager here at Google, and with me today we have Adriana.
Hi everyone, I'm Adriana. I am working here in Google Dublin as a product sales lead for AdSense.
And yeah, let's go to our agenda. So today's agenda, we are going to talk about our new family of ads, native ads. We are going to first go through the native trends in online advertising. After, we are going to talk about the native ads in AdSense. We are going to go through how to implement them, the implementation best practices, some examples also. And after, we go to our Q&A. Something about our Q&A, please put all the questions in English so we are able to answer to them. And yeah, that's it. So you want to start with what is native, Adriana?
Sure, thanks, Virginia. I guess everyone here is asking themselves what native is and why the online advertising environment is actually going for a native trend today. Native ads are, let's say, they come in various sizes and shapes and styles, and they come from a growing number of advertising ad networks today in the market. The native advertising trend was basically launched by the need in the market to create a great looking ad that has a great user experience and fits nicely in the navigation flow in your pages as publishers. For example, when you think about one of your visitors, right? They are reading an article on a news site. They are focusing on the article text. The reading flow is a continuous experience, and the viewport of the user is very well defined within the frames of the article. For this user to have a great advertising moment, it is preferable that they are kept focused on the reading flow without feeling interrupted by any noisy banners or by any kind of ads that basically stand out from the user flow. They should see a great looking ad that feels natural and it fits neatly within the content they are reading, and basically also is responsive to the screen of the user. The IAB Native Advertising Task Force has established 6 core native ad formats, and they are the native InFeed ads, the content recommendation widgets, the search and promoted listings, and the custom content units. All of these ad units or ad formats, they come into various shape and sizes, as we said before, depending on the provider, depending on the ad network that is creating them for the market. Today we'll be focusing, of course, on the Google offering for native ad units, in particular for Google AdSense Native. Why is it important for the publishing world to go for native today? Well, according to the Business Insider journal, global spending on native will reach $7.9 billion in 2017 and grow beyond $20 billion in 2018. Only in the US, native ads are comprising 50% of the advertising spend at the moment, and they are growing beyond the social trends. So when you think about the attributes of native ads, in principle, you would think about why are these ads better than the ads we've had so far? Why are these better than anything we've had already on our pages? And what are their advantages towards the standard traditional advertising that we are already using? Studies across the board, so not only for Google Solutions, but including Google Solutions, show that native ads have an increased viewability for the user, especially when it comes to those native ad units that are placed within the feeds. It's important to see that native ad units still look like ads, but they look great. So 25% more consumers were measured to look at in-feed native ad placements more than they would look at standard banners. Also, native ad units, they offer a better user experience by being less noisy and more integrated with the content that the user already is looking at. they are viewed as editorial, so they provide specific advertising experience, which means that they also bring it was measured that they also bring an 18% uplift in the purchase intent and 9% uplift for the brand affinity than standard banner ads would do. Native ad units are created with the mobile user in mind. They are great for mobile branding, so anything that is a strategy for advertising when it comes to the mobile user, native ads are the place to be. They are reported to be very effective at achieving branding goals on mobile, such as 26% of mobile marketers globally have used native mobile campaigns in driving branding awareness and affinity. So with these in mind, we hope that we've made a pitch for the entire audience today to believe that native is the new trend where all the ad networks are going today. Let's look a little bit at what is AdSense offering today in the market for native ads. Starting July 5th, we've launched the new family of ads from AdSense Native. These family of ads contains native InFeed, native InArticle, and the already existing matched content. Native ad units are ad units that want ad units created for publishers who want a faster and more efficient way to create and implement native ads across their different devices, so mobile, tablet, and desktop websites. Native ad units are basically created to match the look and feel of your site, providing a better user experience, and also are one of the fastest growing segment of ad formats for where advertisers are looking to invest more of their budgets today. So, where do we place native ad units? When you think of placement strategy when it comes to what AdSense has to offer today, think about each of the products that AdSense has today for native. In-feed ads are best placed within feeds, whereas in-article ads are best placed within text-heavy pages, therefore articles. Of course, matched content are best placed within at the bottom of an article page for it to be a strategy of discoverability for your content. Here we have a few examples of grids or content blocks that are considered to be valid feeds. So you can place an in-feed ad on the section of various sections of your site where you have content blocks. Think about let's see, like we have a recipe site here. For example, when you're looking for an Asian cuisine recipe, you would get all of these nice images. Also, they have a little bit of text. An ad will be created here, and it's best for you to place it within the grid because it will look very nicely integrated within it, copying basically all the elements surrounding it.
So let's talk now about the AdSense Native family. So as Adriana was saying, we develop different types of ads that are going to be part of the user flow. So of the browsing, immersion, or continued engagement. So here we have the three different ones. So we have InFeed that are from the fifth, all available for all AdSense publishers. We have InArticle that are also available for all AdSense publishers. We are going to see later how to implement them and where to find them. And after we have match content that there is just available for some publishers that are eligible based on their website. So going more in deep, what is in-feed ads? In-feed ads are the new formats that you place inside your feed to help monetize your site and provide a better user experience to your visitors. As Adriana was saying, we have different types of feeds, and an example can be an editorial feed, like a list of articles, news, listings, like a list of products, services, or etc. In-feed ads are native, which means you customize them to match the look and feel of your content. So normally you place in-feed ads in between the content or your feed, or where your feed begins or ends. As visitors scroll down, your content, they will find the InFeed ads. So how they're different from standard ads? We already talked about that they're part of the user flow, they're highly customizable, and they use high quality advertising elements. The next type of native ads is InArticle. So InArticle is a new Google optimized ad format that helps you put native ads between the paragraphs of your pages. So what Google optimized mean? This means that InArticle ads are going to be so Google ensures that they perform well with your article pages. This includes components like layout of the ad, the elements used, the call to action button. In addition, Google also can optimize the elements you define, for example, the colors of the font of your ad. And if you opt into the Google optimized style preference, Google can override your chosen styles if there are other, like colors or fonts, that they will perform better. So in this case, what is different between an article ad and a standard ad? So they blend very well with the experience of the reader. They use a layout that fits their placement and follows the reader flows, and they use high quality advertising ad elements also. We go now to Match Content. So Match Content is a free recommendation tool that offers you a simple way to promote your content to your site visitors. By offering your readers more content that is relevant to them, you can increase your site's page views, the time spent on your site, also the reader loyalty, the ad impressions, and ultimately the ad revenue. So we are going to go now through the implementation steps of the different native ads. So here you can see that if you go to your AdSense account, and if you have your AdSense account, it will be good that you might try it at the same time. When you go to create a new ad unit, you are going to find 3 new blocks of ads. Depending on if you have match content or not, will be 2. So we will have text and display, match content, InArticle, and also InFeed, that is not here right now. So when you select the one that you want to implement, for example, InFeed, you are going to have different examples, and you should pick the one that matches better with the type of feed that you have in your website. So we have 4 different types, and after they are going to be more customizable. The second step, we have to configure our ads. So here we are going to see after in the live account that we are going to show the different types of characteristics that you can adapt and pick from the options. And the last step will be copy and implement the ad code in your page. We are now going through the AdSense account. So Adri, please put it ready.
We're going to show you a live demo. Basically, this is created in a real AdSense account, and we're going to go through the InFeed creation flow for you guys to better understand how to create these ads. What are the options that you have when it comes to customizing them? What you should look for whenever you're thinking about the length or the various padding of the ads, depending on the structure of your own content grid. So whenever you're thinking about an InFeed ad, think about where you're going to place it. And then where you're going to place it, check within your pages and see the details of the content blocks of your feeds, and then adapt those into the creation flow of your ads. Let's go through it and check how it goes.
So here, as we were saying, we have the 2 new different of native ads. We are going to select the InFeed ads. Here there is going to be a pop-up that is going to show you what we explained already, that are more attractive to the user, the different placement that you have. And yeah, so let's get started. We are going to pick one of the 4 ones, so the one that is better for your website. Here we have the 4 different options. Let's try with this one. Here you can see an example also how they look if you are not really sure which one is the best one for your web.
It seems like this one looks better. So we're going through the examples of each of the feeds just for you guys to have a better understanding of what feeds are already existing.
So here we pick already one of them. You can adapt the size just to see better what you have there. And we are going to go through the global options, the image, the headline, the description, the URL on the bottom. So here you are going to put a name for the ad.
It's important, maybe we'll just pause it a little bit. It's important that whenever you name your ads, for now, as reporting is only available in your accounts by ad unit for native InFeed and InArticle ads, it's important that when you create a native ad, whether it's InFeed or InArticle, name it in a way that is suggestive, so that whether you have 3, 4, or 3,000 ads in your accounts, let's assume, it's going to be easy for you to find that one that is native and to get reporting stats for it.
Yeah, anyway, if you forget to do that, please don't. But if in case you forget, also when you go to the My Ads section, if you search for it as native, it's going to also appear there. So in case you forget to put the name of native, you can search it also in this way. But of course, if you put it from the beginning, it's going to be easier for you to find it. So here in the global options, we have the option of allow selected display ads. What this means? This means that native ads only uses creatives that have a high quality ad elements. While InFeed ads can be more visually appealing to your visitors, they might have also a lower CPM in the short term for some publishers. So to help increase the CPM, you can choose to also show the selected display ads space. So in both type of ads can help to increase your revenue. So please, if you want to boost your revenues, remember to have this enabled, okay?
So exactly. I think this is a great recommendation, especially that let's all remember the native trend generally beyond Google is a very new trend. It's a very new family of ads. So obviously, when you think about the entire environment that we're all operating in, we really need both elements to be there in place. So we really need the demand and we really need the supply. So since you guys are the supply, the publishers are our supply when it comes to native, and you are hosting native ads on your site, there will take a little bit of time for also the demand to grow and for us to be able to match the demand with the supply. So what that means is that for some publishers in the interim, the CPMs will not be comparable to the CPMs you already have for your standard ad units. But I think that's not a best comparison to do in the first place, because the comparison should be done on the longer term. A comparison should be done whenever you're thinking, be always with the user in mind. So obviously, when it comes to studies and user perception, it's a proven thing that native ads are the place to be today. However, to help you boost your revenues, Google has come up with this amazing solution for our publishers today who want to implement and to give it a go with AdSense Native ads. And this solution is to enable this feature, which basically what it will do, it will allow for high quality banner ads to run within the native ad units that you create for a certain percentage of your users. This means that the auction pressure will increase, and this means that your CPMs will not be in danger. It's important to make that choice when you think that's possible, because if you want to implement, for example, a native InFeed ad unit in a placement where you've never implemented ads before, for example, in a feed, think about whether you are comfortable or whether your users are comfortable with seeing a banner ad at times in that particular placement, since that placement has never been monetized in the past. If that is the case, you can give it a try. You can always come back into your account, and if you do not like how this experiment is working for you, you can always disable this function. But keep in mind that when you disable this function, the CPM is expected to be lower than it would with your other ads.
Yeah, and keep in mind also that when the comparison is actually even not fair. There are different type of ads. It's a high quality demand also. And these type of ads are so far designed to be placed in places where you were not monetizing so far. So you can see this type of ads as a nice way to monetize places that they were not making any revenue so far. And with this nice option, you can also boost the revenue a little bit, just in case.
That's a great tip.
Okay. So here you see, so here, we're just going through all the options. So you can wrap the text, you can pick the background color, you have the borders also. So as you can see, it's very, very customizable.
You have a great selection of controls, which is great. This is the great advantage of native ads. It basically lets you create an ad that fits best with your website. It's created for you because it allows the publisher to copy the content surrounding the ad in a way that still looks like an ad, but it looks great. It just looks very integrated. And with the entire selection of controls that you have here, you can experiment a lot. You can experiment over the padding, over the headline, the description. One really cool thing about native in general is that you can switch the image and the text. So you can align left or right, which is really cool because, of course, feeds look different. You can change and adapt the width and the height of the image in particular, and then the width of the ad as well. For InFeed, there is also an option to adjust the height if necessary, but we'll go through that in a second. Let's see about the description.
So it's also nice that you can pick where the image and where the text is going, because I have an example recently of a website that was in Arabic. So they have it in a different way that, the European languages. So it's very, very useful. So please don't be afraid of trying and picking the one that is best for you, because we try to keep in mind all the different options. So the last part is just the bottom. So the call to action button, you can also check which color and font is better for you. And after we do that, we just save and get the code.
And there we go. Nice and easy. You would just have a new InFeed ad unit created especially for your feed. I think this is our code. So that's where you actually can have a function to copy the code snippet. I'm just underlining in the video the fact that you really need to place these ads within your feeds. They will not work if you place them outside of your feed. And this is particularly for InFeed ad units. Also, if you want to add more than one ad unit for a feed, make sure that you have enough content blocks to cover your ads, because these ads still fall under the valuable inventory policy. So you can place as many InFeed ad units as you want, as long as you have enough content to account for it. And that was our demo. Hope you enjoyed that. Let's go to the next slide, which is our examples.
So here we have some example of implemented websites that they're implemented already, the native ads. On the left, we can see an implemented example in mobile. So as you can see, this is an InArticle example. So the ad is placed between the content of the article. As you can see, it's very, very good for the user experience. It's not going to break the flow of the reading, and it looks great. Like, to me, they are the most beautiful ads.
That's true. They are the most beautiful ads. It's also important to know that the images that are coming, in the pot when we're mixing the various elements to create native ads are high quality images. So we both InFeed and InArticle, as you said earlier, they are using high quality ad elements, which include the title, the images, the text, and they look great in general. an important differentiator between the standard ads and the in-article ads when it comes to, they're more similar in the sense of being placed in similar placements, because a user is used to seeing a banner ad within an article flow. However, for InFeed, maybe a user is not that used to seeing an ad within a feed. But with InArticle, it's important to remember that it's preferable to have an InArticle ad in those paragraphs within your article that were not yet monetized, because they are proven not to discomfort the user. And I think if I can be even more bold, and if I can actually bring even more arguments for it, it's proven to reduce the ad blocking rate, so the ad blocking usage by users when it comes to seeing a native ad and a standard banner. And this is not, again, this is not only limited to Google. These are studies that you can actually find online, and we've done a little bit of research before coming into this, and we were just astonished to see that native ads have so many benefits on the user, which, at the end of the day, content is king, and user is even is the king of the king. Let's go for the InFeed example as well, which is the one on the tablet.
Yeah, so here you can see it's placed also between the different results of articles in this case. So you have the title in bold, you have a little bit of like a description of the article, and the image on the left. As you can see, they perfectly matches with the type of feeds that the website has. And something adding also to what you were saying before, there are some publishers, I talk to publishers every day, and one of the concerns for them also is, okay, yeah, I'm placing banner ads between my content, but they are kind of a bit intrusive for the user. So it's not just articles that you were not monetizing so far. There are also articles that you are afraid of putting more ad units because it's too much and it's too annoying for the user. In this way, you can also add a new ad unit, but it's not going to be too much aggressive for the user in this case. So think about this also in that way. The same for InFeed. InFeed in this case, normally we were, for example, putting 728 by 90 in these cases. This type of solution is much better. So here we are going to talk now, and Adriana is going to go through the best practices for the different types of ads, and we are going to see also how to adjust the different metrics so we have our ads fitting with our website as best possible.
Yes. Just before we start going into InFeed best practices, I would say I'm sure that at this point you all have various questions of things we've already said. Feel free to drop them into the form, which is like, I think it's below the webinar, or just go on YouTube and ask us all your questions. We'll try to go through all of them in a second. Let's go through what are the best practices when it comes to implementing InFeed ads. When we started thinking about InFeed, and this is more like an insider information, we've launched a beta with a limited set of publishers. Probably some of you have been already in our betas before we actually went to general availability with this ad. We had a major surprise when, we had all of the papers ready, everyone was happy, we wanted to go to the market with this ad, and then people didn't know what a feed is. So we had this like major breakdown internally where we're like, yeah, we have ads, but people don't know what feeds are. So why do we even, what does it mean in feed? So then we actually had to make a whole help center article around what a feed is. And the confusion came from the RSS technology. And the differentiator there is that the RSS technology is a technology behind some websites. You might be one of the websites that has it, that manages your feeds. The feed, which is relevant for InFeed ads, is actually the stream of content. So whatever you are actually having in your website as a title, description, image, title, description. So either it's a grid or a stream of articles or I think by this point we've been repeating it, or a list, exactly, or a review stream or something like that. So be creative when it comes to feeds. Sometimes publishers think they don't have a feed, but actually when we're looking at their websites, we're like, oh, no, this is a feed. You have, exactly, you have a search. If you have a search box, anything that is searchable in your website and gives the results, exactly, that's a feed. A feed doesn't have to have an image necessarily. We have ads for feeds that are text-based, so even if you have a text-based feed, you can still implement InFeed ads. So when it comes to best practices, clearly look for the feed. You might have it, even if you think you don't. If you don't have it, we can put you on a different solution. No worries. We have something for everyone. Exactly. You will use InFeed native ads to supplement existing ad units. Native InFeed ads are designed to monetize placements that you've never monetized in the past, or you might have, but it didn't really look great. So when you think about feeds, the user isn't really used to seeing an ad in there, especially a banner ad. But with InFeed ad unit, you've tackled the need of seeing probably an advertising moment there, or of offering that advertising moment in a scrolling experience, because users would generally scroll to the list of articles, and seeing an ad that is absolutely fits nicely within their experience, is flowy, and doesn't, keeps the user focused on the actions they were doing before on your content. InFeed ads work best when placed within feeds, so make sure you're placing them within feeds. We've seen publishers who've switched, so they were placing an InArticle ad within a feed and then InFeed ad. It just doesn't work. They are built different. They have a different code. So make sure to put an InFeed ad within a feed. As I said before, you can place as many InFeed ad units as you want within your feed, but make sure that, first of all, you measure viewability of your ads. So they are best placed within the feeds. I wouldn't say they are nicely placed as a first content block, just for the user experience. Don't put it at the top
above the fold. On top of above the fold actually decreases a lot of the viewability, because if you think as a user, the first thing they're going to do, even if it's a little bit of latency, if there is a little bit of latency, what is going to happen is that when the ad is going to be showing, the user has done the scroll and it's gone.
They haven't seen the ad.
Like, you are missing the ad, so it's impossible to click on it.
So it's a placement you've wasted, basically.
Yeah. So our recommendation in that specific case will be to put it, if you want, above the fold, but put it at the end of the bottom of the fold. Like, imagine, like in the first screen, you see like 100 pixels more or less. In that case, when the user is going to scroll, they are going to still see the ad for at least like 1 second. So we
make the experiment for yourself.
Yeah.
When you implement, maybe it's best to have. I'm sure a lot of publishers don't have that technical, bandwidth to make a lot of experiments and stuff. But even have a test page or create an actual implementation and see what's best, for you. InFeed ads are ads that protect the user experience. So when you're thinking about implementing something like this, make the most out of it. We've talked about the allow selected display ads. This is a hybrid model that basically, I told you guys, it lets you boost your revenues for an ad unit in optimal moments when it's believed that the user is best fitted to see a banner ad that is high quality within the native InFeed ad unit. I'm not sure if there's anything else. I think as a best practice for this, when you create the InFeed ad, try to name it appropriately so that it's easier for you to discover it in your account.
Yeah, we talked about that already.
That. I think we can go to the next one. Oh, okay. So with InFeed ads, throughout our beta that I was telling you about, we've discovered that feeds are unique. Feeds are different from one publisher to the other, and there is sometimes a need, there is sometimes a niche, if you want to say it like this, of publishers who need to adjust the height of the ad. Just let me say, and I want to make it very clear, that both InFeed and InArticle ads are responsive ads. You normally do not have to do any changes, but in some instances, and if you are one of those publishers, you will benefit from this option. The system lets you to basically append a height parameter that is appropriate for the height that you would like to have within your feed. We will see an example in a second. So you'll see here, this is the ad code that is generated from the first image to the second image. So with red, with capital letters, we've actually, bolded letters, we've actually indicated there the height parameter, which in this case is 120 pixels. In order to do this, you really need to know what the height that you want is. It's important to also know that you can always come back to this code and change the height as you go to actually find that height that best suits you.
And this is important also to say that this example is for the non-responsive sites that we hope there are just a few, not a lot of them.
Yeah, we hope that by now most of you have responsive sites.
But just in case, just to let you know that there is also an option for the non-responsive sites. And here we go also with the responsive sites. Yeah, it's more or less, if you want to go through it again.
With the responsive sites, I know it looks very techy, but actually it's super simple. If it's simple enough for us to understand it, it's simple enough for everyone to understand it. So what you need to do when you have a responsive site is basically to think about the different height that your ad will take when displayed across various screens. Yeah. So in this case, it looks like this example has 180 pixels for a screen width up to 350 pixels, a height of 130 pixels for screen width from 500 to 800 pixels, and the height of 200 pixels for screens over 800 pixels. So, these three content blocks actually are defining how the ad will look on mobile, how the ad will look on tablet, and how the ad will look on desktop, probably. Yeah. Yes. So with this, yes, it is manually added. So you will need to take the code, and when you're placing it on your site, you need to implement this manually. Yeah. And it's okay to do it in any order that you would like, but you have to specify the height and you have to specify the minimum width, which basically will tell the system what device you're looking at.
Exactly. What? No.
Once you're done with InFeed, it's time to look at InArticle. InArticle ads are a little bit more simple ads than InFeed, thankfully. They are, as their name suggests, they are best placed within article pages or pages that have a heavy content, a text content. Recently, I've seen an example flowing into our product pipeline of a publisher who didn't really have article pages, but they had a lot of pages with very long reviews for cameras. So it was great because even though they didn't have an article page or a news, or a recipe or something like this, they actually had user reviews or, reviews that people have left on their cameras, about their cameras or devices or whatever. So it was a great find for us to see that this can be implemented in these instances as well. So it's best to place an InArticle ad at least 2 paragraphs below the start of your article. Yeah. Again, not on top, not on bottom.
No, it's a type of ad that is specifically done to be between the content. So between the paragraphs and when the user has already started reading, basically.
Exactly.
So we also want to keep in mind that keep you should keep like at least 3 paragraphs to fit nearly the InArticle ads. So don't put them really following to each other. So you make sure that there is content, ad, content, ad. And again, about the allowed select display ads, we said so many times what is it about, and it's the same idea that with InFeed, but within InArticle, basically.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about InArticle is that some people, we've seen some implementations which didn't look great because they've placed the banner ad within the content, where actually that was a more eligible placement for an InArticle ad. And then the InArticle ad, they've placed it at the bottom of the article, and then they had the matched content ad unit. So it's important to remember that the way Google designs these ads is by thinking at the navigation flow of a user. So when a user comes to your site, reads the article, flashy banner here, makes an effort, goes to the end of the article, sees another ad, sees a content recommendation with ads, it's a little bit too crowded for a user. And also it's important, as Virginia said, spread your ads smartly. Like think about the placement, think about what users at the end of the article, users are resuming the experience of reading, of course, because it's the end of the article. It's not the best place to show them an InArticle ad. The best place to show them an InArticle ad is as they are reading, because they're not disruptive, they are flowing neatly with the article. The advertising moment that the user needs when it comes to the end of the article is a matched content ad unit, which allows them to go to another article or to another
to an ad.
Exactly. Which will then redirect them to another article or an ad, and then within your site.
Your website,
Exactly.
I think you don't know how to put them. Just think. Put yourself into the shoes of the user, basically.
Yeah, I think we can jump. Okay.
Here we put some additional resources for you to check. There are all links,
homework.
There are all links from the AdSense Help Center. So if you don't find it, you can go and search for it there. And we will send this to you guys later, and you can check everything there.
Cool.
So let's go for the Q&A.
Let's see what our publishers have asked us.
Easy ones, please. Let's see.
Okay, let's start with the questions. We have some questions here from Aria. Thank you, Aria, for submitting 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. We're just going to go through as much time as we have. We're going to go through.
That we already answered to them in the presentation.
It looks so.
There were some questions before we started already.
Yes.
So there are some that we hope that we answered to them. And which one you want to pick?
Well, the difference between native ads and regular ads, I think we've tackled this a little bit.
I talked about that already.
I think it's important to, yes, of course, every publisher needs to make a comparison between this and that and what I'm putting on my page. I wouldn't make a strict comparison when it comes to standard ads and native ads, just because, as Virginia said earlier, they are coming from a different place. They are coming from a different creative place when it comes to advertising strategies. Of course, it's important for you guys to compare the performance of various ads in various placements, but I think it's more important to compare the user experience you're getting through analytics, maybe check bounce rates or something like this if you have analytics implemented, and see how these ads perform next to each other. Compared to each other, maybe from a user experience point of view rather than, clicks or RPM or stuff like this.
So there is another question regarding DFP. So thanks, Marion, for asking, can I use DFP to serve AdSense Native InFeed ads? So good question, actually. It's something that we should have said before. So this is just AdSense Native ads, which means you can hard-code them in your page and you can use them through AdSense. They are not available so far for DFP and Ad Exchange. we don't know anything else about this. Or maybe you know better than me, product manager.
Yes. So for those of you who are actually using AdSense as a backfill through DFP, and I'm not sure if we have these publishers in the audience, you know quite well that there is a larger larger native product coverage that's coming from DRX, from DFP and AdX. This is not part of our presentation today, so I'd rather focus on the rest of the questions, but it's important to remember that AdSense native ads work for AdSense publishers only, as in they work hard-coded on the page, as in you have to go into the account, take the code, put the code on your...
As we explained already, if there is any changes, we will let you know.
Oh, of course, we will
but
let
so
you know.
far, just AdSense, please.
And for those of you who are interested into native beyond AdSense, there are plans to expand that. Let's see.
What else? I love the Mark said, love the native ads concept. Great presentation. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for the support. Let's see. I have the implementation of InFeed ads until copying of ad code. Unfortunately, I don't know where to put it in the website back end. Okay, so you need, as we said before, Lorena, this was a question from Lorena. If you have already created an InFeed ad, you need to look for the feed that is part of your site and place it between the body tags of the page where you have it. There's actually a lot of implementation steps that are part of our Help Center article, how to implement native or InFeed or InArticle. So it actually gives you exact steps of the tags and where you need to place it. But you need to find the page where you have the feed. Disadvantages and advantages of native ads.
We already talked about that.
Talked about the benefits. Yeah. I would say the only disadvantage is that...
This is a question for Arya again.
Yes, this is a question from Arya. Thank you, Arya. I wouldn't necessarily, from a product point of view, I wouldn't necessarily say they have disadvantages. Maybe from a publisher point of view, is that they're still young.
My side of this, that I work with the publishers, and so the disadvantage in the short term will be the CPM issue, but it's not really an issue because we are already, like, it's normal, it's a new product, it's a new also demand, and we are adapting as...
we're growing. These are our babies. These are our babies. So we're growing them. It's important to know that, yes, it may be that in the next, 12 weeks, I'm just saying this is not to be, I don't want to have the press tomorrow knocking at the door saying 12 weeks have passed, it's time for your CPM.
Or the publishers also knocking at my door.
No. I'm just saying, in theory, let's say there is an interim time where the CPMs are expected to grow. However, think about native ads as an incremental revenue. So revenue you wouldn't actually have made in the past if you stick only to banner ads.
Yeah.
What are best practices? A question from Miki. Thank you, Miki. What are best practices to implement in article, probably, or in reads?
So we assume that is in article. Yeah.
So we've gone through that.
We said already, please place them between the content and the text. And we went through that already.
Another question from Arya here. Any tips on using this native ads? Yes. So the tips, so it's important to know that we are going to send the PDF of this presentation to you. So you will have the tips and the best practices in there as well. Check the Help Center. The Help Center is key to the success of your implementation. So it has all of the implementation tips, exactly. And you can always contact us as well, as in our support team, who will be happy to share with you the best practices.
So there is a nice one from Olivia there. Should I replace my existing banner ads with InArticle ads? So this is a tricky one because we already said that. So for now, my advice as a strategic partner manager with publishers will be that you don't replace existing banners that are performing very well. So if an existing banner is performing very poorly, and you want to replace it, that's okay. But please don't replace existing banners that are performing great. So see this as an extra way to monetize places that you were not monetizing for so far. So yeah, I think I answered that right.
Yeah.
Is it clear? So don't replace existing banners that are performing very well. If you want to do it with banners that are not performing well, of course, it's like there is nothing. So yeah, that's done. What else?
Do native ads, a question from Paul. Thank you, Paul. Do native ads count against the total ad count? So as you already know, Google has moved focus from the ad count. There is really no ad count anymore. There's no limit per se in terms of the ads there, but there is a valuable inventory policy. So you need to make sure that you have enough content to cover for or to be accountable for your ads. So whenever you are placing more and more ad units, think about the value of your content first. I only want to answer one more question because we're running out of time, unfortunately. And I'll go with the one from Jide or Jeremiah about if I plan to use the InFeed ads on a WordPress site, where can I put the code to show in my feeds? I am using Newsmax themes, etc. So this is about publishers who are using a WordPress plugin. There is a special implementation for you guys, which is on our health center. Yeah. I'm not going to go through it in detail now because one, we're going out of time, and two, it's quite complex because you guys are more technically savvy. What I would say is follow the steps on the InFeed Help Center in relation to CMS populated ads. There's a section specifically created for WordPress pubs, and you should be sorted.
Yep, that's it.
Yes, I think we're good to go. Hopefully you guys had a good time. You liked this presentation. It was useful for you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Yeah. It was a great experience to, bring native AdSense ads to you. And until next time, we'll see you soon again.
In the next live stream. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Take care.